Today, let's talk about the city of Little Elm, Texas. We want to drive you through the city a little bit, kind of show you the differences of what you're going to get if you're wanting to move somewhere like Little Elm, maybe because you feel like living here in North Texas, here in the Frisco area, Prosper, Salina, but maybe you don't want to go too far. And maybe your budget isn't up into the $900 million price point. So what are your alternatives and where is it that you might want to consider looking, especially if you're considering some new construction? Well, that's why I want to dive into the city of Little Elm, drive you around a little bit, show you some of the new construction communities, and kind of give you a little bit more information about what you're going to find by living in the city of Little Elm, Texas, because it's something that people may not want to consider necessarily all the time, but there's a lot of really good benefits to it with the location, and we want to dive in and give you all the ins and outs. So let's get to it. So first up, my name is Kristen Carpentier. I'm a licensed realtor here in the North Dallas area. And if this is your first time to my channel, don't forget to like and subscribe this video. Leave your comments down below. Let me know how I can help you find the perfect fit here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I love helping people relocate here because my family relocated here and we didn't have a lot of help. So I kind of want to break down all of these cities, give you the ins and outs and what you can expect if you're considering making the move here to the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So here I kind of want to talk about location a little bit. We're going to talk about some housing prices, new construction, and of course, a little bit of the pros and cons of why you might want to consider Little Elm. Now, right now I am driving down Highway 380. We're sort of on the north side of Little Elm. A couple of the communities are just north of here, but as we get a little bit further east where I'm headed, Little Elm is on the border of Frisco. So just to the east of Little Elm is Frisco. And if that's something that kind of has you drawn to this particular area, but you don't love the prices, or maybe the age of some of the houses over there, that's why I kind of want to give you a little bit more information about Little Elm. I've talked about some of the new construction communities here before in some previous videos, and of course I'm going to dive in a little bit more on some of the communities here now. But essentially, Little Elm is more of this really fast growing lakeside community. As you can see, it kind of has these little fingers around Lake Lewisville, so you have a ton of great lake access with a lot of the different neighborhoods out here in Little Elm, and it's just kind of really what it's known for with their lakeside living. And we're just outside of downtown Dallas and a lot of these other major cities here in the North Dallas area. So we are in Denton County up here in Little Elm, and we're, like I said, on more of the northeastern part of Lake Lewisville. We're about 15 minutes maybe from downtown Frisco, but again, if you're more over here on the east side of Little Elm, you border the city of Frisco. So depending on where you need to be in regards to that. There are also a couple of neighborhoods that are zoned for Frisco ISD, if that's important to you. Happy to narrow that down and narrow down that search to find you what you might be looking for, and even those prices are fairly reasonable compared to some of the areas that you're going to get over in Frisco. But another good point, like I said, if you need to get over to Denton, you might only be about 15 minutes from downtown Denton. Maybe you work in downtown Denton, or you work at UNT or are going to school at UNT. We've done that and talked to some younger couples, single people who are ready to buy their first house, who may be in graduate school over at UNT or Texas Women's University. That is also in downtown Denton. So you're kind of really only about 15 minutes away from there. There's this newer Ray Braswell High School, part of Little Elm ISD, right here in this particular area, and just newer schools, newer communities, and a lot of things that are offered over here in the city of Little Elm, Texas. We're also about 45 minutes to downtown Dallas based on where you are located, so that could be a bit of a trek, especially in rush hour, to have to fight traffic to get down there. But prices are definitely a little bit more doable for a lot of people out here. When we talk about an area, we are, of course, going to talk about new construction, what they have to offer, because of so many incentives that are happening here. That's what a lot of people are wanting. Here in Spiritus Ranch, this is going to ultimately have over 2,100 homes here in this particular community. And there are so many different builders in here. We have lots from 40 feet, 50 and 60 foot lots out here. obviously you're going to have a few irregular lots. They are going to have amenities which are still being built out, more to come. There's an elementary school that just was built here in this particular community, but so many different builders and price points starting kind of in the low $300,000 range, upwards of around $700,000. So another reason why people are leaning towards moving over here to the Little Elm side of things, because you get a lot more for your money than you do just moving a few miles over into, say, Frisco, for example. Plus, when you're a little bit south of 380, it's definitely more helpful. Obviously, when you kind of look at the map of where Little Elm is and how it's kind of all around the lake here at Lake Lewisville. So it definitely makes it a little bit trickier having to get in around. But if you get to know your roads, depending on where you're living or working, if you need to get over to the Denton area, it's a little bit more doable here in Little Elm. You can take the toll bridge over and go that direction into to get over to maybe like Lewisville, Highland Village, Flower Mound, and even down into Dallas if you want to take the 35 freeway. So here in Spiritus Ranch, like I said, multiple builders. We have First Texas Homes, we have Pulte, Beezer, Mattamy. Let's see, Pacesetter was in here. I do believe that they're sold out in here. But if you want any more information on this particular community, just reach out and let me know, or even any new construction just in Little Elm, because if you want to find out what you can get for your money out here and what the different builders and incentives that they might be offering incentive wise for pre-owned homes, if you do feel like that you want to build. Right here across the street is where the model homes are currently. A couple of them have now closed, getting ready to build more, but they're continuing to build in here. A whole other phase is getting ready to open up, but truly new construction here in Little Elm. A lot of different options with multiple communities and multiple builders. So if you want further information, reach out and I would be more than happy to get that for you. But this right here, just driving through and showing you a little bit of Spiritus Ranch. Now I'm taking you through more of an established neighborhood out here in Little Elm. And as we're kind of talking about real estate pricing, currently there's about 540 or so houses currently for sale out here in Little Elm. And that is everything that's for sale out here. But we have about 120 new construction options currently on the market for sale within the next, either immediately or within the next couple of months. So a high percentage of new construction out here in Little Elm. But as you can see, we have established neighborhoods. If you don't really want to have to deal with all the brand new construction, I have clients who've moved out here and said, I don't want new construction because I do not want to have to be stuck in and around all of the construction that is happening in a neighborhood, and they want more established neighborhoods. But then again, I have other clients who want it completely different. But we have prices that are starting everywhere, anywhere from less than $200,000. I will say that is more of your manufactured homes that you're going to find out here. But you can also find some luxury properties down and along Lake Lewisville, and you can find acreage, and the highest price point of a home listed for sale is $4.5 million. But the average price of homes out here in Little Elm is about $400,000. And you can even get new construction for that price point. So if you want new construction or an established neighborhood, or definitely depending on where it is that you want to live here in Little Elm, there's lots of different options just based on what it is that you're looking for. And of course, that's another thing that people need to consider when making a move is their HOA fees, their taxes. If you're going to have maybe a mud tax or a PID tax, some of them have some fairly high taxes out here in these new construction communities. So just something to be aware of if you are looking for new construction. Definitely add that into your budget before making a home purchase. So we're always happy to help run those numbers with you if you are truly looking to purchase a home and make a move here in the North Dallas area. So reach out to me and let me know if I can help in regards to that. So the city of Little Elm, Texas has a population of roughly about 66,000 residents right now here in the middle of 2025, and it is still growing quite a bit. It's one of the fastest growing cities here in North Texas with the amount of new construction that they still have going on out here. And here in Little Elm, it does encompass about 18 square miles. So not really that big of a city, especially when you kind of look at how it is being built around Lake Louisville. So lots of new construction options still to go. There is still a little bit of green space. We'll see what is going to come with that throughout the next few years. But people are really wanting to move here mainly because of the affordability options and being able to get a lot more home for your money in Little Elm versus areas like Frisco and Prosper, for example. So definitely a draw for a lot of people if you don't need to commute to downtown Dallas. Or, I mean, I know there are some that do not mind the commute and are still living out here because they're getting a lot more for their money. So if Little Elm is on your radar, that's definitely a reason why a lot of people are moving here. As you can see, driving down 380 with the amount of construction that we have going on this road, we do have 2 lanes open on either side, which is a huge help for people having to use this. But I purposely planned my day so that I would not have to be fighting any sort of rush hour traffic out here, because it is not my favorite place to be when it is rush hour. But this is going to be the main road. I mean, if you have to get down and along and around the lake at all, because you are kind of stuck over there in the middle, there is a bridge that goes across. We have the Little Elm Beach over there, which we absolutely loved going to when my kids were younger. Trying to find the time as adults when our kids are grown, and the heat of the summer, we haven't made it nearly as often as we like to, but everything is really and truly coming in along this 380 right here. So many restaurants, a lot of commercial options. We have car dealerships down along 380 now. As you can see, if you need to buy yourself a tractor, we got that too, because up in Aubrey and places up even further north, there's still quite a bit of land out there. So who doesn't need to find a way to buy a tractor, I guess, or you know, some sort of a backhoe. Anyway, just something to think about when you're moving out here. But everything is coming in along 380. We have a brand new HEB, a brand new Costco right down the street. So if you are moving here, you have everything that you're really going to need. Just more up over here off of the 380 with all of your traffic. So my advice, which is my opinion, of course, if you're having to go this way during rush hour, this is not going to be the way to go. Heading out towards Denton isn't quite as bad, but just really does depend on your location in Little Elm, where you might need to go. But everything from Union Park to Spiritus Ranch to Valencia on the lake, Frisco Hills, there are going to be a lot of options for new construction homes and definitely some existing homes. We really like the area down that center sort of peninsula area, because you then do have the options to kind of take the bridge over if you want to get down to the 121, or the toll bridge to get over to the 35 freeway. So lots of different ways that you can go to get in and around the city of Little Elm if you need to, but you are a little bit landlocked down and around the lake. And obviously we can talk about that if you have questions, commuting, locations, and best fit for you based on where you might need to go during the day or throughout the week. So see, right here is this new HEB, and this road really will be great. It'll be a bigger freeway eventually, hopefully a nice little frontage road down here along the side road too. So I'm going to take you a little drive down 423 or Main Street here. This is more of on the, we'll say this is the eastern part of Little Elm, but this is also the west side of Frisco. So little parts of Frisco are over here, but the majority of it, as we kind of drive down over here, you're going to be right along the eastern border of Little Elm. So as you can see right here, next to Frisco, some of them still part of Frisco ISD, but maybe you don't even necessarily need a school district. Little Elm ISD is decent rated. I don't know how they do the rankings for the schools. That is completely up to you. I say go to niche.com, greatschools.org, and make those decisions for yourself. But I know quite a few people who are part of Little Elm ISD, and their kids seem to be thriving and doing just fine. But the majority of schools here in Little Elm are part of Little Elm ISD, but there are also sections that are part of Denton ISD and a very small portion of Aubrey ISD, and again, a few neighborhoods that do feed into Frisco ISD as well. So multiple options, definitely something that we can help you narrow down if you do want to move over here and you are very set on some particular schools to put your kids in. And I can always do those specific searches for you if it is needed. So driving through some more of these communities to just kind of give you a sense of what it's like living here. Just pulled in off of 423, and we're going to go down and around to show you a little bit more of Little Elm as we drive through the city. Now I'm going to take you in through the Little Elm Park and Beach to show you how much they have out here. We have playgrounds, we have tons of grass area for soccer, for softball, for baseball, for football. Plenty of grass areas out here to play, but again, parking areas so that you can go out and spend the day on the lake. You do not have to have a boat to come out here. The boat dock is just around the corner. But as you can see, all this parking out here when they're hosting events. We have sand volleyball courts here in the heat of July. It's actually a really nice day today. We had a little bit of rain. Thank heavens. We needed it. So the temperature dropped a little bit, but the last few days have been just right at around 100, 105 with the heat index. And it's been quite hot. So not sure I'd be using that sand volleyball court very much, but the sand down here, and just come and bring your floaties. There's little buoys out here so you can swim out in the water and paddleboard. Again, I love lakeside living. We live close enough to the lakes. There's, oh, look at the amphitheater out here. There's a snack shack over here in the summertime when it's nice and busy, but lots and lots of things to do. You can see the bridge out there that we're going to go across to head back over towards town. So just wanted to kind of give you the full tour of living here in Little Elm and let us know what you think. Do you love lakeside living? Is this up your alley? But more importantly, is this the price point that you're looking for? You can find your starter home, but even these new construction communities have houses that can be in the 3,000 to 4,000 square foot range too. So you don't just have to get your starter home out here in Little Elm. We have something for everybody, but great location. And of course, let me know what you think. I know I try to show it all to you as I'm driving through town to kind of give you a feel like you're actually living here. And that's what I started to get a ton of questions about. They want every city, like, drive me through it. Let me know what it looks like. Let me know what type of things are there, and what would it be like if I was taking my kids to school, if I was driving to our friend's house, if I needed to go grocery shopping. What does it truly look like living here? And that's what I'm here for. So let's take you on to the next one. So I'm still driving down El Dorado and gonna take you down across the bridge. But that's kind of wanting to talk about some of the pros and cons of living out here in Little Elm. And for sure, the biggest pro is going to be lakeside living and your access to the lakes, at least in my opinion. We're also going to have much more affordable housing options compared to some of the other more popular cities. Prosper, Frisco, I've said that multiple times. But reason being is you can get same house for maybe half the price sometimes out here, depending on what it is that you're looking for. So for sure, affordability. Rapid growth. If you want to get into an area that's still continuing to grow, lots of new construction still to come, another great option to get in while it is still growing. And of course, it's very family friendly. Lots of families are moving out here because there's a lot of things to do. It's considered a very safe community, clean, and still lots of community events and things to do out here. But of course, with some pros, you're always going to have some cons. I mean, this view out here is definitely going to be a pro for me, but you know, sometimes with the pros come a few of the cons. And right here in El Dorado, I might be driving west during not during rush hour traffic, but if you need to head over into Frisco for work, the backup that you're going to find here on El Dorado is going to be a pain, and the same is going to go for 380. And again, depending on where you live in Little Elm, if you have to get out and around the lake, that could for sure be a con. Another thing might be limited nightlife. If you really want a lot of restaurants and things to go and do, yes, you can find some more of your fast food options, a few little options for going out to grab a bite to eat, but not tons of things to do on a regular basis for, we'll call it nightlife, I guess you could say. Also, with the amount of new construction that is going on and the amount of even commercial construction that we have and commercial development, you're probably going to be seeing a lot of construction happening out here. So if you're having to be out and around quite a bit, that could certainly be a con with the amount of construction. And also schools. Not everybody thinks that the school districts are as highly rated as some of the other ones that are nearby. So that could be a con. But at the same time, it's still growing. We're getting some newer schools, brand new elementary schools and things being built in some of these communities. So depending on how you look at it, not everybody wants a brand new school because there's a lot of growing pains that can come with that. So that could be counted as a con too. But truly, who is Little Elm built for? I would say a lot of young families, maybe they can't afford a higher price point of a home. So getting into a starter home out here and still being able to get something maybe a little bit newer, for sure, for a lot of young families just starting out. Maybe you don't have to commute for work, but you like the location and you can drive whenever you want. You don't have to really fight rush hour. Certainly that could be a great reason to want to make the move out here. Also, like I mentioned, first-time home buyers. Not everybody can afford an expensive home, but price points for first-time home buyers are really good out here in Little Elm, and also nature lovers. We have trails all along the lake through the communities, and you still have access to lots of outdoor activities. So if you do happen to work in Frisco, Plano, Denton, it is a very, very doable commute, and you get a lot more space for your money out here. So thanks for taking that quick little tour of Little Elm with me. I hope you got some value out of it, gave you a little bit more of a look of what it's like living here in the city of Little Elm. And if you have any more questions or comments about the area in particular and what it's like living here and more specifics, don't hesitate to reach out. I am only a phone call, text, and an email away, and you can always reach me at any time. So if you do want more videos like this, let me know which one you want to see next, and I would be more than happy to add it to my list. But if you are thinking of making that move here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you want any type of information at all, that's what I'm here for. So reach out to me anytime. And until next time, take care.